Welcome everyone. Hey, it's great that you're here. I'm happy that you're coming along and painting and drawing with us. Here we're going to do an ink and wash, a beautiful ink and wash painting. Nothing too fancy. It's just a little small village. We're going to have some gorgeous washes and some shadow washes and trees and rooftops and chimneys and roadways, and we'll do a few figures. We're going to have lots of fun, and so strap yourselves in. We're going to have a great time. So now here, this is the painting. Please feel free to do a screen capture on this, print it on your printer, or just, you hit pause and you can basically take a look at the painting, kind of meditate on it a little bit, see what you are noticing in it. And again, we're going to do a three-part phase here. We're going to do 3 phases: pencil drawing, ink over the top of the pencil drawing, and then finally the watercolor washes on top. So you'll have 3 parts to this basically in this one video. And also wanted to mention, hey, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We have great videos coming out every week here on my channel. Have fun with it. Enjoy. We do every type of watercolor subject matter. We got flowers, landscapes, seascapes. We do beautiful villages like this, ink and washes, flowers. We do seascapes, boats, figures. We do everything here. So anything watercolor, come on by. Always a learning experience, always a fun time. We learn how to make it fun just by getting into the details of it and kind of mastering all the fundamentals that we have to as we go along and do all these different watercolor paintings. So let's have fun. I'll move on to the next part, which will be the pencil drawing. And this is, again, the finished painting, ink and wash. All right, so we saw our finished painting, and so now we're actually going to get started. We'll do our drawing first now, our contour drawing, and then we're actually going to do a overlay of some ink, some black sumi ink, and then we'll do our watercolor washes. So this is like a 3-part type of painting. First we get the preliminary sketch in, just get our overall layout of our design of our drawing. Secondly, we'll go over with some ink with our ink pen and black sumi ink. And then finally, we'll go over with our watercolor washes. So this is, again, beautiful painting to do, lots of light in it, shadows, gorgeous color scheme, blues, greens, golds, some purple and blues, just beautiful, pleasant composition. So we'll get started here. We'll always, when we start, we'll just get a couple hash marks here. So let's say the roofs over here are about halfway. So I'll just put roof here. And then picture is pretty much kind of a star pattern where things are sort of in the middle and kind of radiating out. So maybe we'll put the buildings here. Then we have the roofs up here. Roof peak. And then we'll have sidewalk. So just every once in a while, if you're going to do some paintings and have a start at it, definitely go for it. Get your couple hash marks just around the painting so you have some waypoints as to where you're going to start things, and it'll go so much easier. So here we'll do the wall. That's the retaining wall. And that should be good. All right, so we're already doing these small hash marks will increase your success with drawing and getting your composition correctly, 100%. So that now that we have that, we can just start off, and we'll start our contour drawing right here. And again, doesn't have to be perfect, just a general idea of where things are. We're going to be doing some ink on top of this. So let's we have a wall over here. There's some shadow under there. Okay, so we have our wall there. And there's another pier that juts out here. And a couple archways here. There's one there. There's one there. And we'll just keep going here. We got the roof, this here. And again, I'm just having fun with this sketch. I'm not trying to get everything, perfect. Just enough to get the roofs, the chimneys. And I just trailed this line over here. That's the sidewalk area in front of these small houses here. And then you never worry if there's some spots that aren't just perfect. You don't have to worry. And then especially as you go off in the distance here, no need to fuss around. And if you have the further distance is your friend, you can get a lot more loose and fun, and not as much critical detail in your areas that are in the distance, because no one's really going to sit there and start fussing over what that is in the distance. It's kind of just, the eye will go to the more closer areas of the painting, and the eye will then, eventually the eye moves around the painting and looks at all the different things. So if you make the distant features very loose, very free, the eye will look at that. So the viewer of your painting will look at that in the distance and just know, oh yeah, that's the distance of the painting, some buildings, gables of some roofs, some windows, some doors. But it'll keep moving around, and then it'll come back to the more closest areas, the foreground of the painting, in the middle distance. So here we have okay, so shadowing it there and over here. And then over here, the same thing. We're going to start coming this way. Let's look at these and kind of see where they go. Okay, and then this is the roadway, here. This is the roadway, the sidewalks. Shadows here and there. So that's basically the essence of the drawing. And we have a window here. Maybe another window there. And if you have to do a couple quick corrections, no big deal. But again, don't worry about the real extreme details of everything. Just to have fun with it. Curvy lines are good. If the lines aren't exactly straight, not a problem. Okay, beautiful little street scene in the mountains. And we'll have some trees up here. Okay, excellent. All right, let's come back. Wait a minute. A few more things here. One window here, maybe another there. Some bushes over here. Shadows there. Those are going to be darks. This way you can do this and it doesn't matter because you're going in with really, really dark paint. So wherever you know you're going to go with super dark paint, you can throw in some of these hash marks like that. And then when we come in with the black ink next, then we'll get, we're going to go over the pretty much the same details we just did now with the pencil, but we're going to go over with the black ink, and then eventually we'll get to our washes after that. Okay, let's take a quick break. We did a lot of work here. Once you get your pencil sketch completed, definitely a good time to once our pencil sketch is complete, then we can do our black ink next. Okay, so we're back and we're in business here. We're actually going to start our ink portion. We'll do our ink sketch over the top of our pencil sketch we did, our contour drawing or sketch. However you feel comfortable doing your drawing. I think contour drawing is really the best way to go. It's kind of a slower way of drawing, but you kind of take your time more and get the angles a little more correct, and seems to work out really, really good doing the contour drawing style. And all right, so we have the contour drawing done. We're going to use the Sumi ink now, or this is actually India ink. So we're using the super black India ink by Speedball. Great ink. This stuff, once you get it on the paper and it dries, you can paint over it and it doesn't reactivate at all. So it works beautifully. And I just have a small cough syrup lid. And we'll just pour a little bit of ink in the bottom, not too much, maybe just cover the bottom and a little more with that. India ink goes a long way. So if you have a container like this, this will last you a long time if you're just going to be doing this type of drawing and doing the ink and wash style like this. You'll definitely find that this will last you years and years. It really goes a long way. If you use really large paintings, like if you're going to do really big, like 24 by 36 size paintings and use a lot of ink, well, this might go, you might have to order some more. But if you're just doing the smaller style like we do here, 8 by 10, 12 by 18 size paintings, this will last you for years and years. Okay, so now we have just a little bit covering the bottom of the inkwell. And then I just have a bamboo pen. It's got two sides, a smaller and a larger size for the points. This side holds a little bit less ink, and then this side holds a little more ink. All right, so closer up we just tap. So this is the method of how I do it. I just take a tissue, roll it up, and I put my inkwell in the tissue like this. Make sure I have a good hold of it. You might not want to use you might not want to do that. You might want to hold the tissue next to the inkwell, and then you just dip the pen in, a little bit at a time, and you just, if you find you're getting too much ink on the pen, you just tap off a little bit on the tissue, and that's it. And then you just do the and then you just get some ideas going, some of the lines. Some shadows. Shadows always work good to add the ink where the shadows are. Light's coming from this side, so we can put our light insignia up here. And the main thing is to just have fun with this. Once you have that pencil sketched on, you can just really have fun and just zip right through this, because all you're doing is going by the pencil marks, and that's all you have to do. And you don't have to put the ink everywhere. You can just put it where you think is the highlights. Of course, you can do the dark highlights. That's the first spot. You would definitely want to add your ink to the areas where you see the shadows. So along the chimneys, I see the shadows, and in the eaves and the gables of the roofs here. And I think a couple little spots here and there, and definitely doesn't have to be everywhere. A couple maybe on the bushes here. And I always work left to right. Since I'm right-handed, I'm always going to work this way with my ink across the painting like this. This way I'm not leaning back in and smudging, because if I was to rest my hand on there, I would smudge all the ink. So that's all you have to remember is if you're righty, if you use your right hand to draw and paint, start off at the left side of your painting with your ink and just work your way across. Same thing if you always paint on your left side first, more or less if you can. And you just work your way over to the right. And the same thing with the pencil. When you're sketching, you can move around if you're doing your pencil drawings. That doesn't really matter too much. But the painting and the ink, you want to start on the left and go right. Or if you're a lefty, you'd start over here and work your way over this way. Okay, so now we're getting over to the right side over here. And you can see I'm having fun here. I'm not fussing around too much. This is really exciting because you're just having fun. Again, you have your pencil sketched down, so you don't even have to worry. You can just kind of buzz around and have a good time. like that. And there's some more windows over here I forgot to do, no problem. On there. Little scribbler there. Okay, we're getting there, and we'll have a few lines here. You can even use the ink as well to do some hash marks, you know. That's some more marks is good. Some more hash marks with the ink bamboo pen, it looks good. And we make a couple little marks on here, plaster walls. Closer to us, you'll see a little bit of some details, maybe of the plaster walls. So we add a little bit of the feeling of the stucco and the plaster walls. And all right, that looks good. So we got our basic idea of the ink, black India ink on our paper. We just went over the drawing that we already did with the pencil, our contour drawing. Here we could do a couple branch type feel. And that's good. So right now we're 75% to 80% complete. This is really the bulk of the interesting parts of this is the ink part, you know, doing the ink drawing over top. And then when the colors too are going to make this look absolutely great, but you have to admit that looks great just in itself, the black ink. It's just got a really great look to it. And we can do some windows, just a couple things here just to, so we kind of know as we're going back in to do our painting, we're sort of we'll have some, just a few details in there like that. And maybe a few figures too. Let's have a few figures here. So figures, not too complicated, some upper body shapes. We'll have some more people over here in the distance. And maybe the same thing here. We'll have some more, a couple more figures, maybe a All right, so we did some figures in here too, just to have a few interesting shapes of figures in the roadway and sidewalks here in our rendering of our beautiful street. You know, we're doing a streetscape here, ink and wash, and that's fine. Okay, we'll come back and do our washes. Okay, so we're back. We're ready to start painting. We're going to paint over our ink application here. So this will make this an ink and wash painting, of course, as we said. And I always ask, usually, you know, at some point in my video, please consider subscribing to my channel. We're doing all kinds of interesting watercolor videos. And we do them once a week at a minimum. Sometimes we do 2 videos a week. So if you subscribe, you'll get the new videos that come out each week here on our channel. And you're going to get all interesting videos just like this, ink and wash, regular watercolor painting, all kinds of things like flowers. We do seascapes, boats, landscapes, you know, just the whole gamut. So the whole enchilada, we do it here. Everything watercolor, and of course watercolor, ink and wash is really watercolor. You're just adding a little bit of ink to it. So, you know, I consider this basically watercolor techniques. And, you know, mixed media, you could call it too. It's also known as mixed media. So let's continue on here. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And also if you hit the notification bell, that'll just alert you exactly when the video comes out. And if you want a thumbs up and give me a thumbs up for my video here, please do. And if you don't like it, well, you can thumbs down too. That's fine. I always know by the thumbs up or thumbs down whether you're liking the video and the content I'm doing. So that is always helpful for me, so I can, you know, put more videos on that you would like. All right, so now we you saw the finished painting to start with, so we're not going to do anything you're not familiar with. So the first thing we'll do is let's go in and I would say let's do our sky wash first. So we'll do some cerulean blue and cobalt blue. And this is going to be a light wash. We're not going to really do anything too fancy. I'll rinse off my brush and add a little water to the sky here and there, not everywhere. Just a few spots here and there. Some fresh, clean water. And this way and this is satin paper, by the way, too. This is Arches satin paper. It's the has the pink cover on it, and I use watercolor blocks. Watercolor blocks seem to be really just a great way to paint because they're very, keeps your stuff organized. You paint a painting on your watercolor block, you let it dry the next day, and you just peel it off, and it's nice and flat. And you can see here, since I added that water, it makes a nice effect. So we have some clouds, maybe a little bit of raw sienna, also for the color in the sky. And I just work that down a little bit. Nice and easy though. This is real simple. You splash a little bit of that water on first, clean water. And you can just bring the washes down onto the trees, the distant trees back here. And the roof, so you can bring some of that wash down on there. It's not going to hurt anything at all. I'll do a little bit of splashing. And that's good. Now we can start going in and doing our trees, I think. Sap green, raw umber, sap green, raw umber, French ultramarine blue, since a little bit of purple. Since we're in the distance here, these are going to be a little more bluish. And you can see I'm just using my brush, the side of my brush like this. And I would say let's not what we'll do here is we don't want to fill in everything with the trees. Let's leave some some holes in the trees, some air spaces, some areas where, like that. You can splash a little bit. The key, though, is to be very careful and mindful of where your rooftops are. You don't want to paint over your rooftops here. So I'll go around my rooftops first. So that's a good point here on this one. Try to paint around your rooftops first, like that. And then if you can paint the top edge of your rooftops first, then you're going to have a lot better success, because if you start painting down on top of your rooftops with this dark tree color here, that's going to be an issue. So let's not let that happen. Key in on that. Make a little note for yourself if you have to. Just, that might be the one note. If you had to write down any note on this whole painting, that's the one you want to write down, is paint the tops of roofs first with tree color. That's all you would have to write down, because that can really ruin the painting. You've done all that hard work up to now. You've done all this hard work. It's not easy to draw this. So if you're drawing this whole painting and then you're going over with an ink drawing on top of that, and then if you get to your washes and all of a sudden it gets sloppy and we're going over the rooftops with our paint here that we're doing for the trees that can ruin the painting. So let's not let that happen. Just make a note to paint the rooftop edge first with the tree colors. And that's all. Good. And leave some small holes in the trees. If you want, you might want to just block it all in too. That might look all right. All right, beautiful. All right, we can keep working here. This was fun about this. We can just keep working. We don't have to. Raw umber with a little of that mix we had left over. And we'll do our roof there. Then we'll take this same color, add some lemon yellow to it. Cadmium lemon yellow. Now what's really great about this, and you'll notice, if you use a little bit of the wash you had used just prior to this wash, and then you just add a little cadmium lemon yellow, that gives you a color that ties in with this one, ties in with the trees. So in essence, you're using sort of the same colors. Look at that, perfect. All right, so now maybe we'll work on some of these these roofs over here. Again, raw umber, sap green, raw umber, maybe a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of yellow ochre, and then we can make the next one a little more burnt umber in there. And a little more green. We'll try a little more green, a little more maybe some blue. And I'm just using a number 8 Raphael brush for all of this area, the roofs. Then we can make another touch of cerulean blue to this mix. So we'll make the color a little cooler with the blue. And then here, let's go back. We'll go back up into this section, the raw umber. A little bit of cerulean in that, just to cool it a little bit. And then that's all we do. Doesn't that look wonderful? Now, what we'll do is let's get some more cerulean, touch of purple, cerulean, touch of purple. Leave that little bit that's left over there. If you have a lot left over paint from your roofs, it's better to just clean off your palette. Let's do that. As a matter of fact, let's take a break. Let's take a break now. We did a lot of work so far. We'll take a break for 5-10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll start working on the shadows within this streetscape here, along these beautiful village and this beautiful town here. Okay, we'll be right back. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We took a break. And you know what? This is the real fun part now. We've got pretty much everything completed. We're just, doing the final little bit of shadowing areas in this and a few more, spots that we have to complete. But really, we've done most of the work here. So now's the fun time. We're just going to kind of take our time, relax. We're going to just, kind of finish up here. So let's see now. Let's work from left to right. I'll do a little more of the raw umber and green and a little bit of French ultramarine blue, a little purple, a little bit of cadmium lemon yellow. Make these a little brighter. And you can see I'm just doing the bushes here, nothing too fancy, just we have our drawing and our ink and wash. So we have that to use for our guide. And we could put a little blue in there for variety, some cobalt maybe. And maybe a little more blue over here too. That gives it a little bit of interesting variety. And then we could go with some orange maybe as well. I think I'm going to put a little bit of orange here and there. And I'll tell you why in a second. So you see I took a little bit of cadmium orange. And the reason I took that cadmium orange is, and put it around in a little couple spots here and there, this was all completely dry. We took a break for like, half an hour, 20 minutes. So everything was completely dry. So then I can, when you let your painting completely dry 100%, then you can go back in and add a little color over some washes and it's not going to be an issue. The only thing is you have to remember, which is a real key to watercolor, is when your watercolor washes are damp, you don't want to go back in and start adding more colors and washes to them. That's the general rule. There are exceptions to that, but that takes time to kind of get the feel for. So always the best thing to always remember is get your washes on and let them dry 100%. And then go back in and add other colors over top if you want, just to have a little variation. That's always a safe way to go. And then eventually there are some times when you can go back in and add some, maybe some cadmium red too. So a little bit of cadmium red and cadmium orange. I'm going to do the pots, the chimney pots here. Adds a little sparkle of color. Okay, now I'll just wipe up the palette a little bit. And let's continue on. Let's get some more shadow color. Cerulean blue, cobalt blue, maybe a little bit of raw umber. And then we'll do some shadow colors. Some of this is in shadow, this is in shadow. And this too. And that sidewalk is in shadow. And then this back here is too some. And a little green, a little blue. That's a shadow here, maybe a little purple in there. Purple. And while this is still wet, and I just did it a second ago, you can add a little bit of color. It has to be right away though, within a minute or two. And raw sienna, raw umber, touch of green, yellow ochre. And we can go with some more shadow. French ultramarine blue, add a little French ultramarine blue to that, touch of green. French ultramarine blue, touch of green. Okay, and then we'll work this over here. This looks like a shadow there. And a shadow pretty much over here with a little burnt umber, burnt sienna. And some shadowing over here, like that. And some French ultramarine blue to darken that up a little bit. And we're just doing the shadowing. Okay, that looks fine. And a little bit of raw umber in that blue, French ultramarine blue. A couple more. I did a quick little bit of a wash on the roadway here. And then there's a darker shadow, cobalt blue, maybe cerulean blue, a little bit of green, a little bit of French ultramarine blue, a little bit of raw umber in there too. And that would be the building shadow. Then we can do we could roll up our tissue, maybe see if we can get a couple bits of light through here. Okay, I think that's about it. We have pretty much everything all set here. We have the wash is good, shadowing is good. And there might be maybe a few spots you could even, sometimes I'll use a pen, a permanent black ink pen to do a couple final you can do a few more details with a pen. That's fine. You can, this pretty much is just like the ink this is just like the ink bamboo pen when we're using the permanent India ink. It's just a permanent pen, Faber-Castell. Artist pen, Pitt artist pen. Some figures. All right, I hope we all had fun. This is a fun painting to do. Ink and wash. We'll peel off the tape. Yeah, this is really fun, and this looks great with a nice like white mat and a gold frame. Beautiful color scheme, you know, the greens, the yellows, the golds, the blues, and you know, some purple in there too, and some of that shadow color. It really looks really pleasant looking, and this is something that we can do, you know, rather it's maybe a couple hours we can accomplish this, you know, 20 minutes to half an hour to draw it with the pencil, another 20 minutes to do with the ink pen, and then another, you know, 20 minutes, half an hour to paint. We'll zoom in a little more. All right, I hope we had fun here again. Enjoy the process, and we'll actually, in the beginning of the video, again, you saw that we did this, we had this painting up in the beginning of the video, so you can go back to the beginning if you want. You go back, you just hit pause, or you do a screen capture on your cell phone, or you can also save the file, perhaps. I'm not sure if YouTube allows you to download files, but have fun with it. Yeah, use this as your definitely use this as your guide as far as when you go to paint. And also too, you can hit pause on the ink portion. So once we're done with the ink drawing, you can also hit pause on your video, your phone, your laptop, your iPad, your device. You can hit pause, and then you can do the ink drawing. And then, so you can work from this when you do your your washes, your watercolor washes. And then you can also hit pause when I'm done with the pencil drawing so that you can actually get the pencil drawing in first. And it's kind of easy if you're looking at the pencil drawing. It's a little more simple to do that, to do the pencil drawing from a pencil drawing. And then you can do the, ink. Once I'm done with the ink wash, or the ink portion, you can do that with the video paused. And then, of course, we work from this when we're doing the watercolor washes on top. So have a fun time. Again, enjoy. Try it a couple different times. Maybe change around the colors a few times. You can do this painting over and over. You can do this painting 2-3 times. Maybe you want to use different colors, color schemes. You might use something different that you like. So it's all up to you what colors you enjoy. So when you're doing the wash portion of it, with the watercolor washes, you can have different colors. This is more or less a blue, green, and gold. You could do, other color combinations, more grays maybe for the rooftops and some of the other portions, and then add some interesting colors for the trees or the rooftops. It's up to you, totally. Have fun with it, and we're going to see you on the next video. Bye-bye.